What is going on, college sports fans? Today we're going to be talking some Big 12 expansion because there has been a ton of rumors going around about which team or teams will be the next ones to join the Big 12 conference. So I'm going to go over each of the rumored teams, let you know which ones I think are actually going to be the next ones to join the Big 12, and with that, the domino effect that comes with it within other conferences and which teams they may get as well. So a little bit of a conference realignment prediction in here as well, along with going over the rumors for the Big 12 expansion. But yeah, guys, I'm ready to get started. Subscribe if you guys are new, and let's go. All right, so by far, in my opinion, the most likely teams that are paired together to join the Big 12 conference next are Colorado and Arizona from the Pac-12. I think that this is my prediction to be the next two teams to join the Big 12 conference because it honestly just makes a lot of sense. Like geographically, they're on the West Coast, market-wise, just what they can bring to the Big 12 conference, it all makes sense. And these two teams, especially if teams like Oregon, Washington, if they decide to maybe move on and go to the Big 10, if they get that offer, I don't see them passing on it. I could see Colorado and Arizona taking that Big 12 deal almost immediately after, and let's go over kind of what they bring to the table. So Colorado first, they used to be in the Big 12 conference, so they know it well. They're close to Denver, which is a really good TV market there, and they just hired Deion Sanders as their head coach in college football. That is a big draw. Honestly, like a ton of people are going to want to watch Colorado football this year, even though they might not be that great next year and for years to come. As long as Deion is the head coach there, Colorado is going to be a big draw to watch on TV. Even their spring game was on ESPN over like MLB, NBA games. Like their spring game was on the main ESPN channel. Like people want to watch Deion Sanders coach football. And then you have Arizona, which is a top college basketball brand. Again, really close to another big TV market in Phoenix, Arizona. They're not too far from that in Tucson. I think that, their football program has not been great in the past few years, but it is starting to build itself back up and could hold its own in this conference. But you're really getting that TV market and their really good top college basketball brand, which the Big 12 already has so many of. I think that these two teams would be an amazing additions to the Big 12 conference for sure. Okay, so like I said, I think Colorado and Arizona, I think that they will be the next two teams to probably join the Big 12. But if any team joins before them, I think it will be this one, and that is the UConn Huskies. Now, this one kind of seems almost like unrealistic just because UConn is all the way up in the Northeast, and the only teams that are really even that close to them at all are West Virginia and Cincinnati. But UConn is actually a very possible contender. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark actually did go up and visit UConn campus to talk with them about joining the conference back in May. So this is definitely a very realistic possibility. And if you think about it, UConn is a pretty big brand to bring over to the Big 12. And Brett Yormark has said in many interviews that he wants the Big 12 and how he thinks that they can survive in this new super conference era where Oklahoma and Texas are on to the SEC, making the SEC by far the best football conference, and USC and UCLA joining the Big 10, and they're going to be the two best conferences in football. But how Brett Yormark thinks that the Big 12 will survive is by having the best college basketball conference and also spreading the conference from coast to coast, hitting every single big market that they possibly can. And getting UConn would kind of, do that. Of course, you are getting a top college basketball brand, not just with men's basketball who just won the national championship, but the top women's basketball brand that will bring a lot of eyes there to Big 12 women's basketball for sure. And their football program, they're not that great, but they did make a bowl game last year. They just got reinstated as a program a few years ago. And UConn football could build up, over time as well. And UConn, there are a ton of UConn fans in New York and in New York City. So, you are getting kind of that area a little bit up in the northeast area, and there are a ton of UConn fans up there. So that would be a huge get, I think, for the Big 12 Conference. And if anyone joins before Colorado or Arizona, I think it might be UConn. Next one is Gonzaga. Now, Gonzaga has actually been rumored to join alongside UConn if UConn does. I'm not so sure about that. I think UConn could join by themselves, and Gonzaga, I don't think that they are going to join the Big 12 Conference. I think that if they join any conference, it might be the Pac-12. When some of these other teams leave, maybe like a Colorado, Arizona, or Oregon and Washington to the Big 10, something like that, I could see the Pac-12 kind of panicking and being like, well, we need a big brand. Let's go after someone like Gonzaga, even if they don't have a football program, to come along and join for basketball, baseball, women's basketball only, and leave football out for them just so they can have that big brand name. So I do think that Gonzaga, I feel like they're more likely to join the Pac-12 if they join any conference, but with their main draw being basketball, and they already kind of play a good non-conference schedule to where they can be the top overall seed in the March Madness tournament where they're sitting at now, and I don't know if it really helps them out with recruiting. The only thing that joining a conference could do helping out Gonzaga is getting that money paid by the conference each year. So maybe they want it for the money reasons, but I don't feel like Gonzaga really needs to join a Power 5, Power 6 conference. I feel like they're in the West Coast Conference. They're doing what they need to do, and I don't think that they will be joining the Big 12. Next candidate that has been rumored is Memphis. Now, Memphis has actually been picking up some steam lately because, like I said, Brett Yormark did visit UConn back in May. It was rumored that Yormark was visiting Memphis not too long ago, but Yormark did come out and deny these rumors. So does that mean that he didn't visit him? I'm not so sure. You never know about these commissioners. Like, they could be lying. Who knows about it? But I honestly don't think that Memphis is a top candidate to join the Big 12 Conference. I think if they need teams, they could go after a team like Memphis, but it is a big market. They do have Penny Hardaway as their head coach in basketball, a good basketball team. Their football team, how would they do in the Big 12 Conference? Probably not that great, but every once in a while they could have a good year. I just feel like the Big 12 is going to go after these Pac-12 teams and maybe after some ACC teams first, and if they can't get those teams, they will kind of work their way down to a team like Memphis. So I'm going to say that Memphis will not be joining the Big 12 at least anytime soon. The next candidates we do have are San Diego State and Boise State, and I kind of want to talk about these two teams together. Now, San Diego State, they have been picking up a lot of steam in the realignment talks as of late because their basketball team just made the national championship game against UConn, and their football team, is good every once in a while as well. I think San Diego State would be a great pickup for anyone who can get them. I do think that San Diego State and Boise State as well. Boise State, they have a pretty big brand there as well, especially for football, and their basketball team has made the March Madness tournament the last few years as well. I feel like these two teams, like I said with Gonzaga earlier, more likely to go to the Pac-12 in my opinion. I think that, like I said, when some of these teams leave, if they leave, which I think they will, Colorado, Arizona, and then teams like Oregon and Washington to the Pac-12, and then alongside that, we'll go ahead and get a touch base on this, but Arizona State and Utah, I feel like are the next two to join the Big 12 after Colorado and Arizona. So I think Oregon, Washington, they are going to go on to the Big 10, where Colorado, Arizona will join the Big 12, and after that happens, I think the next two in line are Arizona State and Utah to also join the Big 12 as well. That leaving a ton of openings there in the Pac-12 conference. Will they be considered a Power 5, Power 6 conference? I'm not so sure, but I think they could add teams like a Gonzaga for basketball. They could add San Diego State and Boise State. I feel like those are the next teams in line to join the Pac-12 when some of these other teams leave. And even if they all do stay together, they still do have USC and UCLA leaving. I feel like San Diego State and Boise State will be the next in line to join the Pac-12 conference, in my opinion. Those are the top rumored teams to join the Big 12 conference. If I had to place money on any two teams to join the Big 12, to be the next teams to join the Big 12, I would say Colorado and Arizona. And I also feel like UConn has pretty good odds, honestly, to join the Big 12 conference as well. And with Colorado and Arizona, I feel like Arizona State and Utah would also be next in line to join the conference as well. I mean, you have that Arizona State. I feel weird if they aren't together. And then you would also have Utah versus BYU in the Big 12 as well, which would be, that's the holy war. That would be a great game to have there as well. And Utah has been an amazing football program over the past decade and a half or so. So I think that those would be great additions. And with that, I do feel like teams like Oregon, Washington in the Pac-12, I feel like they are going to go to the Big Ten. And I also feel like Notre Dame will as well. So I kind of feel like the package of like Oregon, Washington, Notre Dame, I feel like they are going to be in the Big Ten eventually. And I do feel like Florida State, Clemson, and maybe even Miami will join the SEC as well, just making them insanely like the top college football conference out there, like 100%. Like that would be insane. Like it almost makes me speechless if we saw Florida State, Clemson, and Miami go to the SEC. But I do feel like that is probably likely to happen eventually if they can get out of their ACC contracts, which are until like 2036 around that time. So we'll see if they can get out of it anytime soon, because they're really not making that much money from the ACC. Definitely the least out of all the power conferences. And after that, once the ACC starts to get some teams that are leaving, I could see the Big 12 going after some of these other bigger brands that are kind of next in line after Florida State, Clemson, and Miami that are also really good basketball schools, like a North Carolina, which is also, they're also pretty good at football. Duke, I could see them going after North Carolina, Duke. That would be huge to get for the Big 12. I could see them going after Virginia and Virginia Tech. Virginia is a good basketball program. Virginia Tech is historically a really good football program. So I think that those four teams in Virginia and North Carolina could be teams that the Big 12 could target if the ACC starts to lose teams in the future. But that is all I have here for you guys in this video. Let me know what you guys think about all this conference realignment news and rumors going around, and which teams do you think are the most likely teams to join the Big 12 conference next. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you guys are new. And yeah, guys, I'm out.